A 19-year-old suspect will appear at the Mambatho Magistrate's Court for allegedly murdering 18-year-old Gomolemo Legae. The suspect is said to have stabbed her multiple times before dousing her with petrol and setting her alight. His first court appearance comes on the day of her funeral, and eNCA reporter Silindelo Masikane has more on this story. She joins us from the northwest. Good morning to you, Sli. It is the day of Gomolemo's funeral, a very sad day. Talk to us about the parents that we're talking to in the last hour about how quick the funeral is going to be, because they headed for court, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately for the Legae and Mashatla family today, they are not only burying their daughter who was brutally murdered in the early hours of Sunday morning, but straight after the funeral service, they will then come face to face with their daughter's alleged killer at the Mambatho Magistrate's Court. I'm just going to move out of shot and ask my colleague Linge to give you a view of what we're seeing at this stage. The funeral is underway. The community of Siweding has come out in their numbers to support the family as they lay their daughter to rest today. Of course, we know from the police statement that Gomolemo Legae was on her way home in the early hours of Sunday morning and was then approached by the 19-year-old suspect, who then proceeded to stab her multiple times. But before that, he dragged her body across the road, where he then stabbed her and doused her with petrol and set her alight. What we also understand is that Gomolemo was able to hang on long enough to be able to name her killer to neighbors here in the community, and that is when the family of the suspect then proceeded to hand him over to the police, and that is when the 19-year-old suspect was arrested. It's been an emotional morning, Xoli, I must say. A lot of tears have been flowing from the community as well as the family when the coffin was brought out from the car. The family just started wailing, but before they started with the funeral service, they did take the body or the coffin rather to Gomolemo's crime scene, just to be able to take her spirit and to be able to start with the funeral service. So at this stage, we've heard a number of speeches from community members as well as government officials who of course have condemned the murder and said that they'd be supporting the family throughout the court cases, but also of course applauding, or should I say commending, the family for not being angry enough to take revenge against the family of the accused, rather choosing to let the law take its course.
So, Sli, the suspect was known to Gomolemo. Do we know the motive as to why he did this to this young woman?
At this stage, we do not know. The police statement that was released was quite brief, only stating that the 19-year-old suspect had been arrested and was charged with murder. At this stage, we will wait for the court processes to unfold to understand exactly what his reasons were for taking Gomolemo's life. What we do know is that there is a suspicion that she may have been raped before she was brutally murdered, but the family, of course, wanting to see justice for their daughter, but also calling on the community as well to not remember her as a victim of crime, but also remember her as a young girl who had dreams, who had hopes, who had a bright future that was, of course, taken from her suddenly. But of course, the family also wanting the community to stand together and also in disbelief at the fact that they live amongst killers. They have killers basically living amongst them, saying that they're hoping that this murder of Gomolemo will be the last in the community.
Right, Silindelo, thank you very much in the northwest there.